Okay, on Thursday, Fmdq OTC Securities Exchange admitted its first commercial paper for 2016, 10 billion naira. After the ceremonies, Channel's business news producer Temple Ashaju sat down with the Fmdq OTC Chief Executive Bola Onadele-Ceo to ask him a few questions about the derivatives market, the future of futures hedging, as well as the controversial foreign exchange market. He has this minutes of interview with him. Let's listen to their conversation.
10 billion commercial paper quotation by Guinness. The interesting part of it is I used to sell Guinness's commercial papers some 23, 22 years ago, whilst I was with Citibank, Nigeria. The difference is that the securities are now quoted. They come with Fmdq's transparency and integrity, and also provide unprecedented information to potential investors after the primary market, which you didn't find. The greatest benefit is actually the governance over the process and the transparency, where on the Fmdq quoted commercial papers status report, you can see the CPs that are live. It's web-based. You can see it all over the world. You can see the record of the CPs that have been previously quoted, whether there's any one that's been rolled over by the issuer, so investors can have their own risk assessment, or if anyone has defaulted. This report is very useful to the central bank, and especially the National Pension Commission, that some of his supervisees, pension fund administrators, the PFAs, are investing. So there's a call, there should be an idea call to these entities. One, the central bank, to ensure banks are involved in any way with only commercial papers that are quoted. Because unlike in the past where there were issues that even the issuers were not aware that people were trading their papers, and a lot of issues happened in the CP market, which is what the central bank has corrected. Fmdq has enhanced that governance that central bank motivated by having this quotation process. So for the central bank, the banks should be involved with only commercial papers that are quoted on Fmdq OTC Securities Exchange. And for the National Pension Commission, the PFAs should only buy CPs that are quoted on this exchange, because that is the only way they can ensure the information, the disclosure, the due diligence, the integrity and transparency required for a market of this nature are guaranteed.
Now, we know that the current foreign exchange regime is impacting negatively on businesses. What is it like with the Fmdq OTC?
It's impacted on our members, the banks, the dealing members. It's impacted on corporate companies because there's no liquidity. We just listed a company here today that usually for its raw materials and business requires $10 million a month. All they can get is $1 million. So if you also look at what is going on, when you have this sort of arbitrage, there's no trust in the market. Because once there's no price formation, how do you believe what price the treasurer tells you he has bought dollars? You can't. It destroys business planning. In serious organizations, they're already planning for next year. What exchange rate will you use to plan? If you have this sort of market today, hedging becomes difficult because everything's in the parallel market. The parallel market is getting too significant. So we need to quickly adjust, and let's talk about the solutions so we don't focus too much on the problem. The crude oil has moved down. That's the reality of it. So what is the best thing we do? The first thing is we need to stop accusing the central bank of devaluation source. It is not the central bank. You're talking of economic realities. So the first thing the central bank needs to do, in my mind, is for them to reduce the significance of the parallel market. Because the corporates are getting $1 million instead of 10. We have to be realistic. They're already blending. They buy some from the central bank window and buy the rest. So the Naira is already being killed. We need to rescue it, because what is trading in the parallel market is Naira. So we need to quickly rescue it. Businesses are buying some from central bank and buying the rest from the parallel market. And I tell you, this currency should not be trading as 380. When you use correlation and you regress the data, the correlation is negative 0.88 between the crude oil price and dollar Naira rate. This currency should be at 200 and something, but we need to do the right thing. So the first thing is to reduce the significance of the parallel market. the central bank needs to return all items into the interbank market where there's credibility, where there can be liquidity. Now, when it gets there, the first thing you expect is the rate to be high up. So the central bank needs to tighten monetary policy to attract some inflows, because some of these investors, even foreign direct investors, are waiting because they see devaluation risk, they're not going to come. They see the opportunities in this country. I mean, everyone sees it. So they want to come in, but you're not going to come when there's devaluation risk. So the next thing is to tighten monetary policy to improve the supply. Again, some Nigerians have tapped the official market over the years to invest in foreign securities abroad. We need to tell them, because it is in the central bank circular, to repatriate all this, all the income and all the principals, and sell it into the interbank markets to boost the supply. Okay, because this money is abroad. So the way foreign investors leave us is the way we'll tell our people to, as long as they bought those dollars for those investments from the interbank market. Then, and it's done all over the world, some countries will tell you December you repatriate to boost the market. So increase in supply will be necessary, and central bank again has a role to play. The third is the market structure. We need to operate a single market. And this is how it will work. If you look at the central bank's objective today, the central bank is interested in supporting companies and activities that will promote economic development, unemployment, and improve prosperity of Nigerians. Those are great objectives, and everyone supports them. But it is the how that we're saying we can improve on, because this model has not given us the best market structure. So what should we do? Have a single market. Let the interbank market offer the rates and prices around the market. The central bank has no capacity to intervene in the dollar market today. But what the central bank has capacity for is Naira. So the central bank, again, just like the interest rate, will develop its rebate framework and decide to support what he wants to support and the sector he wants to support. It's the same thing they're doing, but in a different way. But we can achieve the same thing and still have a viral financial markets, because the financial markets are important to any economy. So in this market today, there's no liquidity, there's no integrity, there's no price formation, there's even no data anymore. So if some businessmen want to go into areas that central bank is not supporting, we can't give them the data. We can't tell them how much dollar is sold. And the first thing central bank needs itself is data. The businessmen need data. If you know how much we import, sell on dollars for toothpick, then some businessman will go into it. Dangote is going into refinery today because he knows the value that Nigeria is expanding on those products. So if he didn't have the data, how does the businessman look at it? So the single market structure is important, supported with central bank's rebate framework. The last is hedging. Again, the central bank has a role to play in this market. Businesses have future outlooks. If central bank comes into the market with Naira futures that settle in Naira, central bank has Naira capacity. It shouldn't do forwards anymore because it cannot boast of the dollars in future. But it can ensure that the stability in the market and volatility are managed if it can sell futures into the market. So people have an idea of where the price is, where they are hedging. So it doesn't say this is where the price will be, but if you've bought a future contract, as for example, if the market opens and we settle, so it will first go up, please, let's know that, but as the supply comes in, it's going to come down. They can then sell futures. If people buy futures, they guarantee their rate. So come the date of the maturity, they buy their dollars. They compare with the futures price. Fmdq has the reference rate, and they get the rebate from that. So if businesses are planning, all they have to do is buy futures, future contracts, and then they have the rates and their stability. Businesses need stability. They need to be able to plan to say this is the price in future. If you look at what has happened in the last 2 months, it's moved from 200 to 350 or 380. People are just calling prices. We can't continue to run an economy this way. I subscribe to the objectives of the central bank in what they're doing to promote the economy, but how is what we're talking about, and they need to probably amend how this thing is done. And those are the 4 things I've given you as likely solutions. You can't take one out of the 4 and say it will work. You have to take the 4 at the same time. So if you go to doctor, he gives you 4 tablets. You can't take one. He knows the reasons why he's giving you 4 tablets. So we have to try those things, reduce the significance of the parallel market, boost supply, position to boost supply into the FX market, have a single market structure. That is what works. We can't have dual market. We can't have CBN window. CBN should let people buy at the price in the market.